You are watching Notepad. This is your host Ibrahim Sani. As we have been celebrating throughout the entire day, March 8th is the International Women's Day. We've been celebrating women in a lot of sectors, but my show will focus on women in industries. Later on, joining, we'll be having two ladies in the automotive sector, and that is clearly one area that we would like to see more women participation. But of course, the 2021 UN theme for the International Women's Day is Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future for a COVID-19 World, highlighting the impact that girls and women around the world have had as healthcare workers, innovators, and community organizers during the COVID-19 pandemic. So joining me on this show, I have the pleasure to invite Salawati. She is the head or the Deputy Director of Marketing Intelligence at Proton. Salawati has been spending a lot of years there, and she has been battling a lot of issues when it comes to trying to achieve professionalism and trying to achieve her own accomplishments in her own vocation. Hi Sally, this is a very indeed pleasure for me to speak to you. And of course, we're celebrating Women's Day, and we want to talk to women in industries that perhaps might not be thought about as having a lot of women participation in it. And of course, in the general theme that the UN has set for 2021 is that we want to achieve equality in terms of workforce. We want to achieve an equal future in a COVID-19 world. And what better time to try to achieve this kind of equality or future in a pandemic situation. Let us know a little bit more about your story, about how you ended up in the automotive sector.
Hi, Ibrahim. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with Astro AWANI today. I started my career in this industry like 23 years ago. Landed in one of the big automotive company. It's not really a planned thing, but I've got the first interview right, and here I am in the industry. I think along the years, over 23 years, I've been only in this industry doing after sales, sales, and marketing, where I landed today. So that's how it started in my case.
And of course, throughout the years, it must have been an interesting journey for you to be in this sector when women participation in this sector is quite low vis-a-vis other sectors that we can think of, in legal, for instance, in accountancy, for instance. But automotive would probably need and require a lot more participation. Have you always felt this way?
Quite honestly, it wasn't an easy journey for me in automotive industry. Imagine I'm not even in technical, but because I started my career in somewhat slightly technical in after sales, I remember being in a meeting with full of guys in the meeting room and handling things with a lot of men. That's how it started. It was never easy because you don't have a lot of supporting colleagues then, right? But over the years, being a woman in the industry could also be an advantage because you got to learn a lot of things alongside with them, and being unique in that sense make myself personally, and I think a lot of other great leaders in automotive, women especially, work harder. We have to work harder to let our voice heard. We need to be more versed in the knowledge that we have. We must find ways and means to get a lot more information in order to survive that environment. Yeah.
A few years ago, I interviewed the Volvo Trucks CEO in Malaysia. She's a Swede, and I was asking her an interesting question in the sense that not only is her involvement in the automotive sector a rare thing, it was even rarer for her to be in the trucks business, and even more rare for her to be in that kind of leadership position. And she was telling me that every day it was a battle, not just in terms of trying to push the business further, but to battle the stigma and the pseudo masochism that is happening sometimes without people realizing it. Do you feel that there is a time and place for us to see an equal participation in the workforce for women in leadership in the automotive sector and also in the engineering field and in the technical field? What would be some of the future ideals that you feel is important for us to have a conversation on, particularly when it comes to your experience in Proton over the past 23 years?
Okay, just a minor correction there. I've been in at least 3 brands over 23 years. I must say, Ibrahim, over the years, women participation has indeed improved a lot by a large number. I am no longer alone when I went into a meeting, which means there are a lot of other women in the meeting. But having said that, the participations of women in a leadership role in many organizations, automotive, so to speak, can be done in a better way. You know, we could do it more. What I mean is, let's just let's just look at this scenario or example. How many women are holding a leadership role in a regulator's position? I mean, setting up policy for the industry.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Bank Negara, the previous Tan Sri Zati, and of course the current Bank Negara SC. Before that, we have Tan Sri Zainal Anwar. We have, in the tech sector, clearly Magic and MDEC. We have a lot, but there are sectors like the sectors that you are in, which is devoid of women leadership.
Okay, so we were saying this now. We can see there's a lot of women in leadership for other sector that you rightly mentioned just now, Ibrahim. But notice that there's not many of us in the automotive sector. I can only quote one name, Dato Aisha, which is now sitting as the president of MAA, and pretty much that's it. I think over the years, I've personally met a lot of capable and excellent automotive leaders, women especially, whether it's technical or non-technical. And I think it's imperative and it's about time that we bring these people up to regulatory bodies of government who are setting up policy for the industries. Why so? Because over the years, the bias of cars has been almost equal now. You know, I think for the last how many years, women has been the critical decision maker when it comes to buying cars. So I think it's critical that at this point in time we consider taking all these leaders on board. You know, the women leaders on board. Yeah.
Finally, I want to talk to you more about the aspiration of women that is currently thinking of doing or venturing into a career in the automotive sector, and perhaps one that might not be doing technical, because eventually after this break we're going to be talking to Yogeswari, another colleague of yours that is doing technical. But perhaps those women that are currently watching this show that is inspired to enter a technical field like the automotive sector, but not doing technical like yourselves, what would be some of the ideas that you want to share with them, the kind of experiences that you've had, and perhaps some of the challenges that they have to be ready for?
Okay, I think first and foremost, I would like to welcome all women, ladies, graduates, students who wanted to venture into these kind of industries. Really, it's not as bad as how people may picture it. That's number one. Number two, we just need to be doing ourselves. I think women are more so very organized. They are multitaskers. They are very passionate about the things that they do, and it does goes a long way when you go into a working environment. Number three, as a woman, we need to be we need to just believe in ourselves. You know, there's a lot more. There's no difference between the woman or men when it comes to work. We need to know our things. Of course, I must caution everyone that we need to work harder, maybe twice harder of a man to make sure that we are acceptable in the industry, but it's not a bad thing, you know. At the end of the day, the benefit will come back to us. We become stronger and stable in the industry. Last but not least, I think in any industry that we want to venture ourselves into, knowledge is power. Be very good at what you are doing, and inshallah, whether it's a male dominated or not, you definitely survive in whatever that you wanted to do. That will be my take, Ibrahim.
Okay, and some of the challenges that the country is facing when it comes to trying to get more women in the participatory workforce, particularly in the automotive sector or in the STEM sector, for instance, is hard quota. Do you believe that hard quota is a good idea for us to think about right now?
Sorry, hard quota means?
Whatever, 30% has to be senior leadership, 40% has to be women in board of directors, those kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Quite honestly, I do not believe in that. I think having a quota is just a guideline for us to make sure that we have a good representation. But I think what is more important is the merit of whatever group that you have. If the merit says that 50% can be women sitting on the boardroom, that will be my take.
All right, all right. Thanks, Sally, for sharing your experience with us. Again, we're here trying to celebrate International Women's Day. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll speak to your guest of Proton. We'll be right back after these messages.